Okay guys, I am wearing a red t-shirt, as you can see, and I'm in Venice. And if you have ever watched the movie Don't Look Now, you know that's a really good combination. In 1973, a movie hit the cinemas that later would write horror movie history. Don't Look Now, with Donald Sutherland playing the main role and Venice playing the second main role. A city that in the movie is not the beautiful romantic vacation paradise that we all know today. Instead, it's a mystical place of death. Today it is time to check out where exactly this movie has been filmed, and we will also find out what has changed in Venice since that day. Time for a new movie location tour. Don't Look Now, 49 years later. So, here we are. Welcome to Venice. Over there, there's the bus stop, and over here, it's already super beautiful. But to be honest, we've chosen the perfect weather for this shooting location tour because today Venice isn't sunny at all. It's super dark and foggy and rainy, and that actually fits quite well with the movie Don't Look Now. But yeah, I would say let's try to find the first shooting location for today, which is the church that John Baxter is restoring in the movie. Yeah, let's try to find it. Yeah, this is actually my very first time in Venice, and when I got here I was a bit overwhelmed, to be honest, by the beauty of this city. I always thought Venice, this is just like a tourist thing. You can visit it, but you don't have to, like it always is with huge tourist attractions. But damn, I was so wrong. And this is not even the main tourist attraction here in Venice. This is just a small alley. But look at this, look how beautiful this is. Okay, I'm gonna stop being emotional now, because I've reached the shooting location. Oh my god. Welcome. The church. And there is not a single tourist here. It's completely off the tourist path. That's how I like it. And this is one of the first scenes we can see in the movie. John Baxter and his wife Laura are walking along the canal. And here we can already see, no, we cannot recreate the mood of this movie today, even though it's raining, because this whole movie, Don't Look Now, has been filmed during winter time. You can see that if you take a look at the trees. It's always foggy, it's always moody, it's always a bit creepy here. We cannot recreate that in summertime, as you can see. Even though it's raining, it's still a colorful place. What we can see in this scene, there is a quite important building on the right side of the screen, which looks a bit like an industrial building, but it's not. It's a university where you can study architecture and stuff like that. And what we can also see in this scene, in the background, right behind Laura and John, there is a building that obviously has been torn down if you take a closer look. In this scene, we can see the priest waiting for Laura and John. What a creepy person he is. He's waiting right at the canal in front of a wall, which obviously isn't here anymore, or it looks different at least. There's also a number at the wall. Yeah, we can also see that in different scenes later on. By the way, the building in the background over here is obviously the library of the university, so it's not an industrial building. This really is a university building. This scene was filmed from over here, and we can see a lot of construction works are going on. And the funny thing about this is, this wasn't just for the movie, there were really construction works going on at that time. The church was really restored at that time when they filmed the movie. And the producers of the movie incorporated this into the plot of the movie. So that's why you can also see a lot of construction works going on here in this scene. There are a few cabins or something like that you can see here, which you don't see in reality, and a lot of more stuff like that. And John, the priest, and Laura are walking towards the church. Here's the creepy priest and Laura, and we can see here there is a stack of bricks right behind them that you can't see anymore in reality, because obviously they used those bricks to restore the church. And what you can also see in this scene is a well. Is that a well? I don't know. This thing was already here when they filmed the movie, and it's still here today. And in the background, we can also see a building that looks a bit like a barn or something. You can see that here in reality. In the movie, there are the bricks right in front of it. Yeah, this place will play a quite important role later on in another scene. This is the first time they show you the church in the movie, and as we can see here, not that much has changed. Even the door is still here, and even the statue without the head is also here, that they also mention in the movie. However, they painted the church, obviously. And here we can see a close-up of the statue without the head. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you why this statue has no head. I did some research on Italian-speaking sites, but I really couldn't find out. So if you live here and you know why this statue has no head, write a comment down below, please. In this scene, we can see a sign hanging on the church which says Venice in Peril. And also, this is not fake. They didn't make that up for the movie. Venice in Peril is a real charity organization with only one goal: to restore and to save old buildings in Venice. And well, that's what they did here with this church. And well, you can also see that if you take a look at the bricks, for example. They look much more clear and clean today than they did 49 years ago. This scene was shot from over here. We can also see the building in the background looks a bit more friendly. Meanwhile, they also painted this building. Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't take any pictures inside this church, where they also filmed a few scenes. Yeah, so we're gonna skip that today. Yeah, let's take a few more looks at the area around this church. For example, in this scene we can see a beautiful bridge. There are a lot of people standing on it to watch the construction works. Yeah, this bridge is still here. Also, all the buildings around it. There is a lantern on the right that wasn't here while the movie was shot. That also has pink glasses in its head, which is some kind of a symbol for Venice, because all the lanterns here have those pink glasses in their heads. In this scene we can see this building in close-up, which has a slightly different color, but there's one thing that hasn't changed. There is a lot of graffiti on the wall. And now let's talk about those two creeps. The sisters are standing right in front of the canal that has been filmed from over here. And yeah, here we can see again the wall has changed in the background. Here you can see it quite clearly. What hasn't changed is the monument on the left side, and there are also a few more benches today than in the past, and also a lantern. Those two sisters are so creepy. When I watched this movie when I was a child, I was so afraid of those two sisters. I'm really glad they are not here today. Yeah, I would run away if I would see those creepy sisters here. Laura didn't. She walks right towards those creepy sisters in this scene. You can see she's walking away from the church, and she's turning around this corner over here. And on the right side, we can see this building again I already talked about. This canal or whatever that is. And here we can see this canal, the stable, whatever that is, looked a bit different in the past. There was some kind of a wall or something like that behind the grid. You can't see that anymore. And the place also looks a bit more friendly today with all the flowers you can see here and stuff like that. But yeah, the sisters are still creepy as hell. So I would say, let's leave this creepy place before they come after me. just a few meters away from the church, if you walk from there to over here, we will find another shooting location. This is the canal where they find the second dead body in the movie. And this is the scene as we know it from the movie. We can see the canal, we can see the bridge, we can see the buildings in the background, including this beautiful church, and all of those buildings are still here today. What is not here today is this little park we can see here in reality on the right side. There are a lot of trees standing there, and there's a bench and grass and stuff like that. This wasn't the case back then when they filmed the movie. This is the reverse shot, and this building over here definitely has changed, because this building in the past used to be a snack bar or something. What I find quite interesting is the Pepsi Cola logo in the background. I actually didn't know that Pepsi used the word cola in their marketing back in the day. I only know this brand as Pepsi. Or is it just like that in some countries? I don't know. Here's the officer explaining what has happened in the canal, and luckily, today, there is no dead body in the canal. John Baxter and the creepy priest are standing in front of this building over here, and as we can see here, also this huge building hasn't really changed. Also, the building on the right side hasn't really changed. But the third building right beside those two buildings obviously was torn down. That's what we already saw in one of the other scenes. And this is the last scene I want to show you from this place. In this scene we can see this little boat harbor in the picture. And yes, we can see also in reality this little boat harbor is still here today. Okay. I just arrived at the next shooting location, which is the hotel where the two mysterious sisters are living. And, well, this really is a mysterious place. And here it is, the hotel of the creepy sisters. And I really don't know why, but this place in fact looks a bit creepy, doesn't it? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the architecture of the building, maybe it's the barred windows. There are also a few spikes above the door to keep the doves away, I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is a fantastic hotel, nothing to worry about. But yeah, this building itself looks a bit creepy. I don't know why. What do we see on the picture? We can see that on the right side there is an emblem missing in the movie. Obviously they removed it, maybe for the movie itself, I don't know. And the color has changed. Meanwhile, this building is painted orange at the bottom. 49 years ago it wasn't like that. By the way, this hotel lies in a very quiet alley, as you can see here in Venice, but it's surrounded by a lot of tourist attractions. So there are a lot of people walking around here, but they obviously don't come to this alley. So if you want to shoot a horror movie at night in this alley, I would say this is still the perfect place to do that. The camera pans to the right. We can see this creepy tunnel, which also is still here in reality, as you can see here. What's missing is definitely the red mysterious figure. But yeah, there's a boat. But you can still see the famous bridge in the background that you can see in the movie. Speaking of the bridge, this is the scene you can see right after John Baxter crosses the tunnel, but I'm pretty sure this is not the same bridge as they show you in the movie. It looks totally different. Also, the camera perspective is totally different. The railings are different. So I think they used another bridge for this scene, but I don't know which one, sadly. There are thousands of bridges here in Venice. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it's not this bridge. We are back at the hotel. One of the creepy sisters is coming down the stairs. That scene has been filmed from over here, and as we can see here, obviously in the past, or just for the movie, I don't know, the door on the left side obviously used to be the entrance door of this hotel. Meanwhile, it's the right door and the left door is barred. The creepy sister is yelling at John Baxter, who's running through the tunnel that was filmed from over here. What's fascinating is the building on the right side that you can also see in the movie, a building that has balls on the walls. I don't know why. This is, by the way, not a castle or something, or a church or something. This is just a normal hotel. You can book it. So yeah, I'm really fascinated by the architecture of this beautiful town. In every corner you can discover something new and fascinating. Here's Laura, still smiling. She runs through this creepy alley, which is not a creepy alley anymore. As you can see, there is a restaurant, there are people walking around and sitting in the cafe. Yeah, it looks much more friendly. And this is the last scene I want to show you from this place. Now also Laura runs through the tunnel that was filmed from over here. We can see the building with the balls on the walls on the right side. We can see the tunnel in the background. We can see the hotel on the left side. And I think now we should leave this creepy place. Yeah, and before we move on with our next filming location, we throw ourselves into the tourist masses for just one moment, and we're gonna visit the most famous tourist attraction that Venice has, which is St. Mark's Square, where basically all of the tourists are hanging around like all day, obviously, because you can also see this square in the movie Don't Look Now. John Baxter is walking across it in just one scene. And here it is, John Baxter on St. Mark's Square. And as you can see here, oh my god, the only thing that really has changed are the people. There are so many people here, which you can't see in the movie. Everything else looks quite the same. You can still see the beautiful historic building on the left side. You can still see the lanterns. Obviously, in the past they were standing at a different position, I don't know. You can see all the beautiful monuments in the background and the towers of the buildings. Yeah. That's it. That's St. Mark's Square, but I think now we really have to go because there are just too many people here. If you thought this filming location tour isn't creepy enough for you yet, it will be now, because now we're going to visit the famous scene where John Baxter meets his, spoiler alert, murderer, which is exactly here, I think. And this is the famous bridge we all know from the movie Don't Look Now, and that's how it looks like in reality. As you can see here, nothing has changed, absolutely nothing has changed. The bridge is still the same. Also, the railings on the right, where John Baxter has his hand on, are still here. The buildings around the bridge, of course, got a new painting within the past 49 years, but everything else is absolutely the same. Here we can see John Baxter on the bridge. What we can see here in reality is they obviously changed the street signs. You can see here there is a tunnel that goes through the house. That's a street. You can walk through the house, and yeah, there are signs above those tunnels, which obviously looked a bit different in the past. Here's the scene from a different perspective that has been filmed from over here, and as you can see here, it looks much more friendly today than in the movie. They also had a little bit of fog in the movie. You can see that on the scene. I'm really wondering, is this real fog, or did they do it with, I don't know, like a fog machine or something like that? If not, they really chose the perfect days to film this movie in this city, because it looks so creepy. Look at this scene, it looks so creepy, and it looks totally different in reality. Yeah, and just a few steps to the right next to the famous bridge, we will also find the famous gate where John Baxter finally dies. As you can see here, yes, this gate still exists. And it's the water entrance of a huge palace, which you can also visit from the inside, but from the other side, you can't enter it through the water like John Baxter did. They also filmed the inside shots in this palace, obviously. I decided not to visit it today because, well, in the movie it's quite dark, you don't see that much of this building, and I don't really know if you can really visit the actual shooting locations inside the palace. So yeah, I skipped that today, but yeah, feel free to visit this palace by yourself. Maybe you will find the famous shooting locations from the movie Don't Look Now. We take a few steps back in the storyline of the movie and we go to the place when the very first murder occurs. And that is the scene when John Baxter drives on the canal with a boat and the driver gets very angry because the police is doing their work and stuff. And all of those scenes were shot over there. And here's the scene as we know it from the movie that was filmed from over here. Well, not exactly from over here. I'm standing at the riverbanks right now. The producers of the movie, 49 years ago, obviously had the camera on a second bridge, which is also here. But there are a lot of tourists right now standing around and they are doing their selfies. I don't want to disturb that. It's also important. What we can see from this direction is the building on the right side definitely has a new painting. And also the bridge itself obviously has a new painting. In the movie it looked quite green. Meanwhile it's more like brownish gray. Yeah, so that's what has changed here. Everything else looks quite the same. Here's John Baxter on the boat and this is the second bridge I was talking about. The tourists are gone and the bridge still looks the same, even though the building on the left side definitely looks a bit more orange than it did in the past. Here's the other bridge in close up and here we can definitely see, yep, it looked a bit more greenish in the past. Today it's more brown gray. And here's this building we can see in the movie quite prominently. It's this one over here. And as we can see here, obviously in the past there were people living on the ground floor. Obviously it's not like that anymore. We can see here there's a lot of wood in front of the windows, which hadn't been there 49 years ago. There were windows, there were curtains and stuff like that. You can't see that anymore today. What we also see is, obviously, they changed a few signs. On the left side, we can see in the movie, there is a sign that says no boats over 2 meters, obviously. This sign isn't here anymore. But on the left side, in reality, we can see there is a sign that says one-way track, which hasn't been here in the movie. Interesting, right? A lot of people are watching from the balcony that was filmed from over here and we can see the building looks much more beautiful and friendly than in the past, and also the balcony does. And this is the last scene I want to show you from this place. The police officer is yelling at John Baxter and his driver. That has been filmed from over here. As you can see, the building has a new painting, but not much has changed here. So, I survived the tourist masses and meanwhile I'm at a much more quiet place. Look at this. The doves, like in the movie. And this place is actually the place where the very last scene of the movie, Don't Look Now, has been filmed. When, spoiler alert again, John Baxter is buried. Yeah. And to be honest, this would be actually also a great place for my funeral. Someday. Not yet. And here's the mourning boat with John Baxter's body on board, sailing across this canal. Over here, as we can see, once again, it's super foggy in Venice. It's not like that today. And once again, I'm asking myself if this fog is real. Or did they do something in the post-production afterwards? Or did they use a fog machine or whatever? Yeah, maybe we will never know, but I'm pretty sure this fog is real. CGI was not that good in the 70s, so I'm pretty sure they've chosen a very foggy morning or evening in Venice to shoot the scene. Looks super mystical. The camera once again pans to the right and here we can see some stairs that we can also see here in reality. And what's different? Yep. right. The stairs are much more visible in the movie. To be precise, in the movie we can see 9 steps, and in reality we only see 6 steps. And the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that is the old phenomenon that Venice is sinking. As you might know, Venice is sinking into the water because of its construction, but also because of climate change and the rising sea level. Within the past 100 years, Venice has sunk 23 centimeters. And since this film is almost 50 years old, Venice obviously is deeper in the water today than it was back then. However, I don't think that we really can see this while we are watching the stairs. Of course, the sea level also rises and falls naturally, ebb and flow, you know. So I don't really know if those stairs are a good place to show you that Venice is sinking. However, it's a real thing, and one thing that is pretty clear is that the number of floods has increased within the past years. In the past, floods were quite normal during wintertime in Venice, but not in summertime. Nowadays they happen all over the year, so this is definitely a sign that Venice has a problem. And also a new flood protection project has been announced in 2020. It's called MOSE, and it only has one task: to protect the city from the water. But if it will help in the long run, of course nobody really knows. In this scene we can see one of the creepy sisters climbing up the stairs. That was filmed from over here. In the movie we can see in the background there is some garbage lying around behind one of the lanterns. What we don't see in the movie is the building we can see here in reality on the right side, which is a church, a quite historic and important church from the 17th century with a lot of great paintings and stuff like that. This church obviously right now is being renovated, as you can see. And this is the last scene from this place. The creepy sisters, Laura and all of their friends are going to John Baxter's funeral. That has been filmed from over here. Nothing has changed. Even the fountain on the right side we can see in the movie is still here. By the way, while I was walking around here, I catched one of those ambulance boats on my camera. Yeah, they really exist, like in the movie Don't Look Now. Of course, if there are waterways, there are no ambulance cars. Of course, there are ambulance boats. Holy Mother Mary. Was zum Henker ist das? Oh. So, my little hike through Venice is almost over, so this is the last shooting location I want to show you today. It's actually one of the first shooting locations in the movie. It's the restaurant where Laura and the two sisters meet, and then Laura passes out and then she has to be rescued by the water ambulance. All that happened over there, but the restaurant today looks totally different than 50 years ago. And this is one of the scenes we can see in the movie, the beautiful skyline of Venice and the canal. And on the left side, there is the hotel. And as we can see, once again, today it looks much more friendly. There are white awnings, people are sitting on this pier, there are flowers. In the past, 49 years ago, it looked totally different. There is this ugly brown pier, and I have the feeling this color brown is some kind of a creepy style element in the movie. You can see that a lot of times. For example, also at the hotel of the creepy sisters, which also has this brown color. And well, you can also see it in this scene. Here we can see the restaurant in close-up, as it was 49 years ago. And this is how it looks today. As I said, much more friendly. Laura passed out and she had to be rescued by the water ambulance. Also, the water ambulance boats obviously looked different in the past. Today they are yellow, as I showed you a few minutes ago. In this scene, we can see the crowd watching Laura and the ambulance from a quite famous bridge, which is the Ponte degli Scalzi, built in 1932, quite historic, quite famous here in Venice. There are a lot of tourists walking around here today. In the past, there is a large crowd of gawkers standing on the bridge. Okay, and now let's talk about the restaurant itself. This restaurant, which you can see in the movie and which still exists, is called Ristorante Roma. And unfortunately, I couldn't find out where they have shot those scenes you see in the movie with this great hall you see in the movie, because you can't see this great hall in reality. There is some kind of a porch right in front of this restaurant. That's where all the people are sitting, or they sit on the pier. But this, from the inside, doesn't look like what you see in the movie in any way. I actually asked somebody at the restaurant, but they didn't really know what I mean. They didn't even know the movie, which is quite funny. So I'm pretty sure that behind this porch, there might be this great hall you can see in the movie, but unfortunately, I couldn't visit it that day. However, what I did is I ate a pizza in this famous restaurant from the movie Don't Look Now, and I really have to say it was quite good, even though the Google reviews of this restaurant are quite bad. I don't really know why, to be honest. It was quite good. You can also do that. You can also eat a pizza in that restaurant, or you just try to order what they ordered in the movie, which of course was chicken and grilled scampi. So, that was my day in Venice. A mixture of emotions, I would say. I was absolutely fascinated by the beauty of this city, but at some point I was also quite annoyed about all the people walking around there. So, if you want to go to Venice, I would recommend don't be that tourist. Don't go to all the places where everybody else is going. Maybe try to find the little secrets along the road, and there are a lot of them, and they are really, really beautiful. Try to think about the history of the city, try to think about the problems of the city, and then try to make something out of it. That would be my recommendation for you. If you liked this video, then please leave a thumbs up. You can also hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you won't miss any upcoming video. And if you want to know how to get with a bus to Venice, and if you want to know all the addresses of the filming locations of Don't Look Now, then you should definitely become a Patreon. Then you will get all the exclusive stuff and new videos before everyone else. So that's it for today. Oh, there are some guys playing football. Have a safe journey, and see you next time.